Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host Madhulika Rajrahan. In our last episode, we talked about heuristics, what they are and how they work. In today's episode, we will talk about rule of thirds. According to Kara Plekanec, photographer, author, and instructor, if you're tuned to the imagery we see around us, I feel like you sort of absorb the rule of thirds, even if you can't put your finger on it. So, what is the rule of thirds? The rule of thirds is a composition technique that guides you to place your subject on the left or right, leaving more room for the other objects. Although there are other forms of composition, the rule of thirds helps get the most well-composed shots. Imagine dividing your image into 9 equal parts with the help of 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines. That's precisely what makes the rule of thirds. Using this grid, you must place your objects along the lines or at the points where they intersect. The rule of thirds is one of the most helpful tools that empower you to balance your main subject and the white space within your image. If you are starting to embark on your journey to become a photographer, this technique can take your pictures from mediocre to mesmerizing. However, there is only one way to master this technique: practice. When dedicated and consistent application, the rule of thirds transcends a mere skill and becomes a spontaneous habit. The rule of thirds in graphic design is like dividing a page into tic-tac-toe, noughts and crosses board. Imagine that the canvas is divided into 9 equal parts with 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. Take the image, and these lines can help align and position graphic elements like the apple and arrange your design so that it is easier for people to perceive. When you use the rule of thirds, the lines cross at 4 points in the middle of the page. These are the sweet spots in your design, where people naturally tend to look first. Putting your main subjects, such as an element, text, image, or icons, here can make your work more interesting and dynamic. The rule of thirds is a handy design tool that creates balance and adds interest to your work. It helps you highlight important parts of your layout and guides viewers' attention. By using this rule, you can make designs that are more visually striking. Like in graphic design, the rule of thirds in UI or user interface design is a fundamental principle that helps structure and organize elements on a screen. It involves dividing the screen into a 3 by 3 grid, which results in 9 equal parts. Usually, the 4 intersections are ideal for placing crucial elements. For example, look at the website template from Wix, which we have. This Wix website template places important elements like the hero image, titles, or CTAs or call to action along the horizontal grid lines. A note of caution though, due to the responsive nature of UIs, such placement will work best on only some screen sizes. In UI design, the main purpose of this rule is to make the design look interesting and effective. When you are about to take a photograph, you can enable a 3 by 3 grid on your digital camera screen and add it as an overlay. Focus on the 4 intersections. The grid lines form and align your subject with one of these. You can also align it with the vertical or horizontal lines. Take the image as the case we have shown. The human figure is the subject or the focal point placed along the right lines. This way, the focus remains on the subject, but the other visual element complement it and set the scene. You can also align your elements with either the vertical or horizontal axis. Another common program that includes a mobile application is Lightroom. The orientation of your objects and the scene will decide which line you can use here. For instance, objects in a landscape, that is horizons, trees, forests, beaches, and cityscapes, work best aligned with horizontal grid lines. Conversely, elements like doors, pillars, waterfalls, and people in standing position look better when you align them with the vertical grid lines. This makes your photograph more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. At the same time, you can emphasize the scene's interesting elements more. Instead of placing the horizon line in the center, align it with one of the grid lines. Aligning it with the lower grid line, such as in the image, brings far more focus to the sky. Another advanced tactic is to align elements diagonally. This tactic is effective when you want to capture objects with irregular shapes. For example, paths, roads, and rivers. Instead of placing the central element in a left to right direction, you can position it diagonally. To ensure they are aligned right, check for the diagonal intersection points. This helps the viewer's eye wander around the image. Consider aligning subjects diagonally instead of horizontally or vertically. In this example of the winding river makes for a more dynamic composition when it is diagonally splits the image. Although it is rare, you can completely disregard the rule in a few cases. For instance, if you see a balance in the scene, there is no need for the rule of thirds. Like in the picture we have, you may find symmetry in landscapes with lakes and rivers reflection, seas and wet roads. In this image, the buildings along with their reflection form one unit, thus making the rule of thirds tricky to implement. That said, even with the image splits neatly into two, where does your eye really focus on? Chances are along one of the intersection points. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.